King bishop c6, and Magnus keeps giving up the bishop. So one of them has to be very wrong, but it's a complicated position. You've done this stuff as well, right?
Sure. I think we actually came up with this idea when I worked for Sasha for the candidates in matches in Kazan, and I won a reasonably nice game against David Navarra when I played a match against him in Prague. So I was one of the pioneers of this approach, but I mean, nothing earth-shattering was really shown in that game. It's just there was this idea of postponing d3, d4 for a reasonably long time here, because generally when this variation just started developing, people would play d4 almost as a matter of course here, and then black gets tremendous counterplay against the white center. So the plan was to wait on this for, well, as long as practical. And in the game, Magnus has now played d4, but only after developing his knight to c4 and waiting for black to waste some tempi on bishop b6 and a5. So it's a slightly different position.
Yeah, Carlsen no stranger to this stuff. He won games against Grishuk, against Rajabov, against Anand, so he's played this plenty.
Yeah, sure. He is one of the main, I think, main driving forces of this variation. Queen c2, rook e8, queen c2. I'm kind of wondering, no, it doesn't work. I was wondering about rook e4, and bishop f5, but that doesn't work because there's queen rook e8 check in the end. Yeah, and so that tactic doesn't work, and Pavel went c5.
That's what Rajabov did, and after d5 this bishop looks ridiculous, but it's not so easy like this position.
No, it's you still play d5 because you don't you don't want to let this bishop breathe, but of course it's far from straightforward. And Pavel starts by playing a4, which is very sensible, preventing the pawn on a5 from being fixed by a2, a4 with from white. And now his plan, I guess, is something like bishop b7, c6 if allowed. Although with the bishop on f4, that probably isn't coming very soon. I quite like
what
white's
do you do?
position,
It looks much easier to be white.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure he played this the best possible way. After knight c4, let's say it's Blitz. We probably shouldn't return too far back, but I think the plan with c5 was maybe a bit too slow.
Yeah, so nice position for Magnus Carlsen, who if he wins this one, 2 out of 2 would be pretty decent start to conquering one more white game in the classical tournament, which is what this really is about. I'm not sure if the tournament is rated for the live Blitz ratings, is it?
Should
Getting
be,
a nod from
No?
Mr. Uran over there, so it is. Do you care about the live Blitz ratings?
Not particularly, but a tournament this strong, I mean, I'd rate it, but I have no strong opinions on that. But
no, my point is, I don't think anybody cares that much about any rating, but classical, is that changing, or?
I think it is to a degree, because there are actually tournaments, Blitz tournaments popping up, rapid tournaments popping up, where your rating might actually, well, let's say conditions in the event might actually depend on the rating. So, yeah, I think, I mean, it's obviously nowhere near as relevant as the classical rating for, well, anything, but it's becoming a bit relevant.
How would you rate the bishop on b6 on a scale of 1 till 10?
Still not a huge fan.
We have some more moves, queen e7, rook to e3.
I think I'd probably take this opportunity to take on b3 here. Although maybe he takes with the queen, because I think if you allow the rook to leave a1, you might get mated on the king's side.
He's played c6, trying to break things up a little bit. Rook g3, carrying pretty obvious threat. You have to go f6. He
did play f6, and now knight e3. Yeah, and this is now looking very, very dodgy for black, because knight f5 is a tremendously strong threat.
What do you even do? Queen f8, knight f5, g5 or something? Looks horrible.
That is truly horrible. I think he just missed this idea altogether, and he is now in a world of pain. He did go queen f8, but after knight f5, I mean, what do you do? I mean, g5 is too ugly to contemplate. You might have to. And he does play g5, but I mean, many things look tremendously strong here.
So this queen is
worryingly. I mean, knight c4 is a decent idea. Also, just rook f1, f4 or something. The king side will. No, rook f1 is actually a blunder of the. Probably starting with knight c4 is not a bad idea.
You don't like my maneuver? I like my maneuver.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent maneuver, but I mean. Seems like white should be close to winning. Magnus starts by taking on c6, bishop takes c6,
And
he wants to go knight c4, I suppose,
in.
but currently the pawn on e4 is hanging, so he'll probably start by going rook e1 or something, and then bring the knight to c4, increasing the pressure on black's entire position. Or rook d1. Yeah, he's gone rook d1. Black should probably go bishop c7. And Pavel went knight e5, which allows bishop takes e5 and knight c4. I don't really like this. Well, I mean, criticizing is very easy in this position. This is not a good position for black. But I think bishop c7, at least hinting at playing d6, d5 at some point, was maybe a bit stronger. Bishop takes e5 is on the board. Black should probably take. He's taken with the rook. At least he's trying to keep the position somewhat open for his bishops. But yeah, you get the feeling it should objectively be falling apart somehow.
Didn't Kasparov say a knight on f5 is worth a pawn?
Very possibly.
Which pawn? I don't see a window. Knight c4, still bishop e4.
So far, I can't really find a direct solution. And Magnus went rook e3, sorry, which is
sort of an admission. Things aren't that easy.
Yeah, bishop c7, knight c4, rook e6, I suppose. And yeah, queen e2. Finally, your maneuver is happening, and once it lands on h5, well, black will be struggling. AB, king h7.
It's still queen h5. You can't. You got bishop e8 in case.
There's bishop e8 or bishop takes e4 maybe. Queen g4 is what Magnus played. Rook a8 is, I think. It's interesting.
Eljanov's back in the game. This is no longer clear.
Hang on a second. I missed something in what.
Something different.
There was yeah. So he began with queen h5 and only then went queen g4 and after
Clever.
Yeah, and now with the pawn on d6 gone. It's
Tricks?
Just, yeah, not really. No, I think this is quite dead. And the rook on e8 is now gone. So this game is over. Magnus Carlsen wins his second game in a row. This time against Pavel Eljanov.
Once again, my jinxing abilities at full display. The very second I said Eljanov's back in the game, he collapsed.
That's because I gave you the wrong position to comment on.
Okay, yeah. Let's blame you. Kramnik Aronian draw. Nothing to see here.
Seemingly a kind of a solid, normal type of game. Lichao seems totally winning against Veselin Topalov. Kind of confirming what we said earlier about Veselin not really.
He's not known as a blitz expert.
Yeah. So seemingly the knight on c2 is lost because, well, has no squares, and there's also a discovered, well, not a discovered check, but a check, and the rook on c6 will fall. So that game is probably either over or will be over in a second.
Resigned.
Yeah, so Lichao is on a point and a half out of 2. We have 2 players already who started with 2 losses, Veselin and Pavel Eljanov. What's happening in MVL against
MVL has a pawn that seems to be advancing very fast because there's no perpetual check because this pawn is covered.
Yeah, he went queen c5 and MVL played queen d7 check, king f6, and played c7 now. Queen e5 check. I suppose he wants to just go g3 and king h3, I guess.
Height here, then we still can go for
queen e2, but then he transferred his queen to d5 with checks somehow and played c8 queen, and the game is over. I don't know, we should probably double click and see how he's done that, but king f7 was a bit of a mistake.
King f7
actually.
is helpful.
Yeah, he probably should have gone to a different square. Queen e5 check, king h7. I don't actually see a direct win, although it probably exists. But that would have actually prolonged the game and maybe even made white's win somewhat tricky. But after king f7, queen d5 check, and we'll just queen the c pawn next move.
Yep.
So MVL is on 50% after 2 rounds.
Niels on 0 out of 2?
No, Niels drew the first one, so he has a point, half a point. So Magnus, I think, is the outright. Oh, we haven't seen Giri's game in this round yet.
So Giri won again.
Giri won again. So Giri and Magnus Carlsen are leading with 2 out of 2.
Hare Krishna played 6a3 against the Najdorf. Is that a common move?
There's all kinds of
a3 I'm familiar with, but a3 less.
I think Mateusz Bartel.
He went knight b3.
He went knight b3 in like 4 games in a row here, including against some very, very strong opposition. chess is bewildering sometimes, completely. I mean, knight b3 here. I don't know what that is, but
What's the point of a3? Like, some random line stopping b4 might be useful, but it doesn't look like a priority. Maybe
Yeah,
Harry is trying to hide his night of preparation for the main
I'm not
event.
sure we will see this in the main part of the tournament. Although, I mean, you never know.
I'm pretty sure we won't see it.
Could be the refutation of the Najdorf, but I somehow doubt it. Especially since if you go to position after move 9, so they got to this position and he played a4 here. Kind of, although I like his position a great deal here.
I like the outcome, yeah.
Yeah, it's still a tricky way to play the opening. Yeah, but this has to be hugely better for white. Something must have gone badly wrong from this position onwards for white to lose.
Because it ended like this, and here this extra knight is sort of the
Yeah, it's an important
main
detail.
factor.
An important detail.
So let's do results. Hari Krishna loses to Anish Giri, 2 out of 2 for Anish in Blitz chess. MVL wins against Nils Gondelius. Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, starts with 2 out of 2. Pavel Eljanov, 0 out of 2. Kramnik, Aronian, a draw. Veselin Topalov loses to Li Chao, also on 0 out of 2. And
So-
thanks to your expert scorekeeping, you can now tell us
Yeah.
the round 3 pairings, which
Yeah.
I could also read out, but let's see
Okay, so
how you're doing.
this is so Veselin is white against MVL.
Correct?
The colors will be tricky for me, but okay. Lev is white against Li Chao.